So, Eddie and Jessica, thank you so much for getting together with Leanne and I this morning to be able to talk about rural crime. As you both know, rural crime is very important to both of us. We both come from a farm ourselves, so it's just great for us to be able to meet with you and maybe shed some light on what happened to you and your situation. So, feel free to talk about what you feel the major issues were with what happened to both of you.
I think that it's really important to talk about some of the details of what happened. So I think that you're trying to get at is when the people came onto our property after Eddie scared them away. He phoned the police for help, and they didn't come for 2 hours to help him. And when they arrived, it wasn't to help; it was to arrest him, which was a major issue.
Yeah, so I called for 911, expecting help to come from the situation. The RCMP didn't show up for 2 hours to my property. And when they showed up, my first interaction with them was being arrested. So from that point onwards, it was, my daughter was home with me still, so I had to call my mother-in-law to come pick her up, and being arrested, being taken into custody. And then while I was in custody, I was held for 24 hours, then they laid the charges on me, and a total of almost 30 hours, or just over 30 hours, I was actually in custody. And one of the bigger factors of it all is they charged me before even investigating or looking into what happened. Like, forensics wasn't even on our property before the charges were laid.
I can't imagine how that would feel. I mean, after having that kind of a morning, and then realizing that 24 or 36 hours later, you're looking at charges yourself. So I know that for me it was a concern. When I read the entire story, I found it a little bit interesting that during your case, they were looking to build a case against you and you already had the charges on you. So I know that's something that's a bit of concern, and I think that sheds a light a little bit on what you were saying. I've been to the town halls, and when I was at the town halls, I saw a lot of people asking the question over and over again, what are our rights for defense of our property and self? So I think that's kind of what you're talking about there.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it comes into play, is the rights of self-defense or protecting your property. If we're not going to get help and be prosecuted as a criminal, then what are we supposed to do when this happens?
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that has kind of come out of this situation for us, because obviously we've been focusing a lot of attention on it, is in the moment, if criminals come onto your property, what are you supposed to do? The police at those town halls, they keep saying phone us,
Yeah.
and I don't want to throw the police under the bus, but they cannot be there in the minute while they're breaking into your stuff, breaking into your home, and who knows what they're going to do. I mean, honestly. And why should we have to wait for them to arrive before being able to defend ourselves and our property?
So when they discuss a little bit right now that over the past few months there's been a drop in rural crime, do you feel that? I mean, you both live in a rural area. Do you feel that's accurate right now when you're looking at rural crime and just the recent changes from the provincial government?
I think that the statistics that have been released recently by the government say that the rural crime in Alberta has dropped, but I did see some statistics recently from one of our MD counselors that in the Turner Valley detachment, the rural crime has actually increased and property crimes has increased. So I don't know how accurate those statistics are, and to be honest, we hear a lot of stories all the time because of our position and the publicity surrounding our case. So I think that there's still a huge issue. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I think there's still the increase of rural crime is there. My belief is people just, after what happened to me, they're not feeling safe about calling for help or doing anything to help the police to catch these guys. It's more rather call your friend for help than the authorities.
We've heard that from a lot of people that we've encountered. That
Yeah.
they're just calling their friends and trying to handle it themselves, which is dangerous as well. But people, it makes me wonder if people are reporting it less now than they were before.
Is there anything else that you would like to comment on? I mean, as far as after the fact and moving forward, what things do you think are important for you guys now?
Well, I think one of the big things is we do have an election coming up, and people need to get out, and you need to talk to your MLAs or the people that are running for MLA, like yourself. You know, our voices are the ones that need to be listened to, and people need to get out, voice their opinions, say their concerns, really look at who you're going to vote for, because it starts with us at the bottom, and we need to voice our opinions about everything moving up the chain so we can talk to future MLA and our MLAs now, and then they can bring up the topics up higher up.
Yeah, and keep making these changes and keep improving this. I totally agree, 100%.
Yeah, like the biggest thing is these changes aren't going to happen overnight. So people got to just keep on it. They got to keep voicing their opinions. Keep going out to the town hall meetings and the rural climb meetings, and talking to the representatives that are there and telling your story.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Well, thank you so much, Eddie. Thank you so much, Jessica, for allowing Leanne and I the time to get to meet with you and discuss this. And I know on behalf of myself and my entire family, and I'm sure the entire rural community, thank you for sharing this and allowing us this opportunity to bring a little bit more light to your situation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.